We forgot to film an intro, so here we go. Hey
Hey
guys,
guys,
welcome to our Q&A. I'm Kotaa. I'm a stay-at-home mom of 3 girls.
And I'm Shane.
Let's get into it. First things we need to talk about is we have water. It's our fault.
We forgot to leave the water dripping.
Yeah. But I do want to say that when we first bought this trailer, we thought we were going to be living here forever, permanently. And over the course of the last couple years, things have changed.
Just feel like God's calling us to Georgia.
Yeah, overall, it's always felt like we didn't want to put too much into our house just to up and leave. So we're kind of leaving it as is, working with what we have, and just trying to make it until we eventually move. Don't feel like you need to send us money, anything like that, because we don't want your money to, go to waste in a sense. If you did want to help, it would just go towards expenses to move. And I totally understand if you don't want to do that. We're not out seeking help or asking for you to help or anything like that. We believe in hard work, and we want to work for the things that we have in life, and we want to instill that in our girls. But if the Lord is calling you to do something like that, then we don't want to be a hindrance. So I wanted to talk about, someone had mentioned in a previous video about donations towards a camera. There is a little snippet in my description about that, but I also wanted to say, if you are going to send us money, please let me know what you would like it to be used for, because I don't want to get it mixed up, and I don't want to just be willy-nilly with your hard-earned money. So if you could just tell me what it's for, that way I can put it in the right spot. That's basically it. So I have my laptop here looking for questions, which I might actually just put in my lap so it's easier. I guess the first couple of simple ones are you Navajo? How did we meet?
Am I Navajo?
Yeah, are you Navajo? How did we meet? So I am Navajo, Italian, Austrian, and something else. I did not grow up on the reservation. I was born and raised in Georgia from the time up until 18. I then moved here to the Navajo Nation. My mom's side of the family is Navajo. My dad's side of the family is the Italian side. You can tell them what you are.
I am Navajo from New Mexico, the reservation.
This mountain.
This mountain is where I come from.
And then how did we meet?
We met in church. We were kids. You would come visit your grandma for the summer, and she would bring you to church. And that's how we met.
And then I guess we could go into I think what you're really asking is how we became what we became, how did we get married and stuff. And short story is that he messaged me on Thanksgiving Day in 2011, and I was lonely, depressed, didn't have family around in Georgia, and that's kind of what kicked off our friendship. We stayed friends for 3 years? Almost 2 to 3 years.
Yeah.
We became really good friends. I came out to New Mexico a couple times briefly, and then after the last time that I came, I flew him to Georgia, got a ticket for him. He stayed with me for about 2 months, and then he helped me move. So that was in March or April of 2013.
I think it's April.
And I think he officially asked me to be his girlfriend July 2013.
On your birthday?
Yeah, on my birthday. And then we got engaged, I think May 2014. June, July, August. So we were only engaged like 3 months.
I think
we got married August 9th, 2014. So
we've been married for 11 years.
I have 3 girls, 8. Sorry, one of them is freaking out over what we're doing. 8, 4, and 1. No, 8, 3, and 1. Almost 4. Okay, let's get into some other questions. What am I in school for? And like why, I guess. So down there. I am in school to be at the end of everything, I'm in school to be a social worker. But currently, I am doing my Bachelor's of Science in Counseling and Community Psychology. I should graduate by the end of the year. I'm really excited to start my internship, which I will do tomorrow, so I get to know if school counseling is what I want to do or if I want to be a therapist. So that's kind of where I'm at with that. It's definitely hard as a mom of 3 and everything that I have, but I'm almost done. Someone said, do you guys remember the first day you two met or seen each other? No, I don't remember because I was probably a little girl. I could say like, I remember when I was older, but
I don't remember either.
Yeah, we were young. So I know you guys said a story from my mom or my grandmother. Sorry, I'm like a little sick in a way. But my grandmother, she's 92 and she's, I don't want to say she's going downhill, but she's showing a little bit of sign that that's happening. And she hasn't really spoken or carried on conversations for a couple of years now. So that having her share a story and her understanding what I'm asking is a lot, and I don't think she'll get it. But my mom, today we talked a little bit with my mom, and she's gonna be in the next video after this, so just wait for that. I think we're confusing a lot of people about moving. I say a lot. I have noticed since starting my content, and I hate it. I'm trying to stop, but it's really hard. The goal is to move. That is what we're working towards. That's why we're saving money. That's why I started my YouTube channel or social media content, whatever you want to call it. That's initially why I started. I've been wanting to move for so long. My oldest daughter's 8, and it's always been on my mind, and I hate to get emotional because I don't want to be that person on here, but when my husband lost his job last year, I knew that we weren't going to be able to stay where we were at, and it broke my heart. I literally fell to the floor in our apartment with the realization that we'd have to move back here. I'm not trying to bash reservation life. Stop it,
Abigail. No.
I'm not trying to bash like reservation life and talk ill about where I come from or where my husband comes from, but when you're a person like me and you grew up in a completely different lifestyle and you know that there's more out there, why wouldn't you want that for your family? So the goal is to move. I feel that it is the Lord's calling for us to move, but we take it one day at a time. We pray about it all the time. We are taking steps towards that. Like just with my schooling, it feels like it's more attainable because I'll be finished with my degree by the end of the year, so that I can get a job that will increase our income substantially. And for my husband, there's more job opportunity out there for him. And with him getting eye surgery, there's a chance, a small chance that he can get his CDL, which right now he's not eligible because of his vision. So for me, I am planning to move back to Georgia. For my husband and my kids, this is a whole new life. For all of us, we are uprooting our entire family for something new, something. She's
cranky, probably tired.
Well, she just woke up. But anyway, we will be uprooting our entire family and everything that we know for a dream. Do you want to say anything? Make sure you speak up.
The church we are in had a youth choir, and our youth choir was called to Arkansas one year, and we went. And since then, I fell in love with the South, and I've always wanted to live there. It's a big dream.
Someone said, tell us about your long-term goals. I know someone had asked about like chickens and stuff like that. So I want everything that we have here. We have our own house, or we have our own mobile home, and we have our own little piece of land, and we have the freedom. But what we don't have, which I wish we could have, is grass, a house that's on a solid foundation. I want better school system for our kids. I do want chickens. I want horses. I'm a horse girl. I pray that when we move to Georgia that I could hopefully have my own horse finally. I want cows. Not like I don't want to be like a cattle rancher or anything like that, but I mean, if the Lord wants it, you know, I'll there. I'm all there for it. But we do want like our own little farm, ranch, chickens, ducks. What else is there? I don't want pigs. Pigs are gross. The little ones, they're cute, but they grow. So,
yeah.
Goats.
Dogs.
Maybe a cat or two. We do plan to take our dogs with us to Georgia, but the cats can't come because my family's allergic. So depending on the situation, my mom will probably end up having the cats.
Yes.
I told him that I don't want to be the only one talking. So someone said, I'd love to know unique experiences you and your husband had growing up living on the reservation. So I didn't grow up on the reservation. I only spent 2 months out of the year here on the reservation, and I know what it's like to be without water, like running water. I know what it's like to live without electricity. I know, and you gotta walk to the outhouse, stuff like that. Like, I've lived the life. I don't want to say that I've been submerged in it every day of like my entire life, but with me being here during the summer and then me being here now, I feel like I can speak on it a little bit.
My experience growing up is here on the reservation. I remember not having running water, no electricity. All we had was a stove, which was our heat, which was our light.
Like a cooking stove?
No, fire, wood stove. I mean, you could cook on it. And then I remember getting power, getting water.
How old were you?
I'm not sure. Maybe.
Like Maris's age?
Yeah, maybe 5. I remember our house being built. My parents' house being built.
Or like clothing. You know, like you go school shopping every year.
No.
Stuff like that. Like talk about that.
Where our clothes came from was hand-me-downs. When we were older, like teenager, then people would buy us new clothes, or you know, my mom and dad got money somehow and one set of new clothes or new shoes. I wasn't the kid who had like 5 pairs of shoes or whatever. All I had was one. When that wore out, I got another one. We were raised with animals, sheep, horses, a little bit of cows when I was younger, which seemed like the best thing in the world, but we don't have cows anymore. We used to haul water from them from town in big old tanks, and when we got running water, it changed. You know, we would have hoses, long hoses, and just turn it on. But in the wintertime, we were not allowed to use the hoses, so we would water the animals with buckets. And we were young. I was young.
About how old?
About Amaris's age is when I started.
That would be 8.
8 years old.
Yeah.
2 buckets of water each. It was tough sometimes, but it made me tough.
He grew up with like 5 siblings or more in a 2-bedroom house. So when I first met him, he didn't have his own room, his own bed that he, was his. He didn't have his own dresser, no nightstand. Nothing of that sort was ever given to him or anything like that. And so for me, I was given that. I got my own bedroom when I was like middle school. I stayed with my mom until I was like about that age. But so we grew up in very different living different lives. But
we did, well, me and my younger siblings, we didn't have a bed until I think I was in the 3rd grade is when we got a bunk bed. We all shared it though.
I just remembered when you said your sister fell off.
Yeah. I remember when we got the bunk bed, I faked being sick at school just to get sent home so I could play on the bunk bed.
Yeah. It is, I don't want you guys to think that like, oh man, the reservation life isn't hard, but the only reason why we have our mobile home is because of my mom and how hard she worked in her life, and she gave us money to buy this mobile home. If it wasn't for her and her hard work and her love and care for me as her daughter and our family, we wouldn't have this. And so our girls could have a completely different life. So there are kids now that are literally down the road who don't have their own beds. They don't have new clothes. They don't have a warm house to sleep in. Their parents are drinking out in the streets and grandma's taking care of them. Like that's the reality of a lot of homes here on the reservation, and not just Navajo, many other reservations. Alcoholism is a huge factor here, and it's unfortunate that a lot of the kids who are being raised here continue down that road, but also live a life similar to his due to stuff like that, or like lack of jobs.
I was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes at 3 years old, and I would say my parents didn't get a lot of education on it. Yeah, growing up with it was kind of hard because everybody else didn't have diabetes, and I seemed to be the only one who for a while had to eat different, couldn't go places like far. I guess to put it this way, is they really coddled him because they didn't know how to have a son who had type 1. And we've been working through all that these past couple of years, and this is what the eye surgery is going to be about. And so it's a hard topic, honestly, to talk about. I think it's a topic on its own that needs
its own video. Yeah,
its own video, I guess.
There's a lot around it, but let's go on. Have you ever been to the balloon fiesta?
Living here all my life, never been to the balloon fiesta. I've always wanted to.
No, I've never been either, but I don't feel like I need to go. It's really, really unique and amazing. When my daughter was in public school in Rio Rancho, they had their own little balloon fiesta there. So we got to see a hot air balloon unfolded, blowing up, personal, like up front in front of us, because they had that for the students and their parents. So I didn't want to pay like $50 just to go do that. It's an amazing thing. So if you're ever in the area, do go. The Mass Ascension is very beautiful. It's pretty fun to wake up.
We've seen it from a distance.
Yeah, it's pretty fun to wake up and see a bunch of balloons in the air. Asked if we homeschool. I do homeschool, but I'm not a strict homeschooler. Honestly, it's kind of just like we're waiting for a better school system. My daughter refuses to go to the schools here. She's been to the schools here, and I've been a sub for the schools here, and I'm not going to force her to go when I don't want to be myself at the school as a substitute teacher. And I think that's telling a lot. Do we have hobbies? No, I'm too busy to have a hobby. I think the easiest hobby I have is shopping. So when I'm down, I like to shop, or I like to eat, and I like coffee. But my husband has all the hobbies in the world, and the most expensive hobbies ever.
I'm basic. I like the outdoors, like fishing, hunting, anything to do with guns, bows, archery.
I think his dream job would be to be like a professional fisherman. Is that a thing? Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Or like to be sponsored by a boating company, a fishing company, anything like that would be his go-to. Someone said, did you know that there's a Navajo tribe in Mexico? No, I did not know that.
No.
That's pretty cool. Someone asked, what have you and your husband learned through marriage?
That's a loaded question because we've learned a lot.
I think the number one thing, though, is communicating.
Communication. Don't be afraid to say what you're feeling.
Even the things that you think are going to be hurtful, you need to say it, because if you don't say it, it's going to stick with you. It's going to bottle up inside of you, and then one day you're going to say it, and it's not going to be in the way that should have been said.
Yes.
Is YouTube always something you wanted to do? So I started like watching YouTube and like following people when I got pregnant with my first daughter, because I started watching birth vlogs.
I feel like after those, you've always wanted to.
Yeah, it's always been like in the back and hiding.
In the back burner.
But it's never really come to light. Even I've tried to do Instagram like 2 or 3 years ago. That didn't work. And I started with Instagram this time around this year, and Facebook and TikTok, and it's very, very difficult. But I think I kept telling my husband, I think YouTube's my thing. So I did a get ready with me, and then one day I woke up and I was like, I'm gonna film breakfast, and I'm gonna show people, what I make, like Navajo style. And so that just kicked off our journey, and a lot of you are here because of that video, and I'm forever grateful. They always talk about community on platforms, and I am just very thankful for all of you who are here with us, who have really become family.
Wow.
Challenges. So challenges living on the reservation.
Every day.
Yeah, like every day is something new. Not to say that if we move to Georgia, there's not going to be challenges there, but there'll be different types of challenges. And I feel like because we've lived in the city and we've lived here, in the city and here, you just have to pick your hard, is how I feel. Everyone here is like, oh, you don't have to pay rent living here. But there's nothing here. Like when we lived in Rio Rancho or the city, like us in the evening time, instead of my husband coming home and like us trying to get wood or us trying to thaw or water or I don't know, maybe
work on the truck.
Yeah, like his truck's broken down sometimes. Like all of these things, like a truck being broken down probably has to do with our road. Our road is very bumpy. It's up a hill on a mountain. It can get very muddy because it's not paved, and all those like parts in your truck over time wear out. And unfortunately the tires do too. So it's always something. So like my mom and I joke all the time about tires because she lived in Georgia for 30 years and never once really ever had to buy brand new tires. You'd get new cars and then your car's tires would last until you needed a new car. So it's just stuff like that that's a little different. And instead of doing all those things, we could be spending time with our kids.
Riding bikes, we can go for walks, play on their playground outside,
trampoline,
or teaching them something.
My dad was Italian. I think I did say that. Someone asked how did I fare in Georgia as a mixed person, and I did fine. My mom and I were talking the other day about it with my oldest. My girls. Do you need something?
Mommy's not playing the game right now. She don't want to play.
I'll just leave her alone.
Just watch something in there, please.
Anyway, I did fine. I've always been to myself.
Oh my goodness.
So they're gonna have to learn how to navigate stuff like that. How old were when you met your hubby and also when you married? Okay, I was probably 17 when my husband first texted me or messaged me. So he would have been 19. I was 19 when I got married. He was 21. So we're babies. No, there's not a library. Well, yes, there is a library on the reservation, but it's probably in a school or in a college. What it's like having 3 daughters. This video. How was your husband?
It's the accident. I was really sore the next morning, and stretching it really helped me. And I am still kind of sore, like around my shoulders, but other than that, I'm okay.
My name does have a meaning, and it's shortened. It's a Native American tribe. And I ended up in Georgia because my father passed away 3 months before I was born. And my mother wanted me to know my Italian side of the family, and that's where they lived. And so that's how I ended up there. But also that my mother was living in Georgia. So that's life with 3 girls. But that's... Time out. I don't know what happened. I don't know where we were at. But next question is, do we speak or talk Navajo? Do we speak Navajo?
I speak a little bit. I understand most of it.
I speak a few words.
Do you understand it?
I understand a few words. I can put bits and pieces together. But why do I keep saying But not really. Someone said, my brother-in-law is a Navajo from California. My family loves him so much. We are Filipino Americans. What advice can Shane give him as far as recovery from alcoholism?
Recovery? Jesus Christ is what I could give.
You didn't ask me, but I think go through like the program and whatever, but find support outside of your family. Find someone that is genuine and pure, a go-to, and get into a good church?
I would say, from what I experienced on the res, people who've gotten out of alcoholism, those people have a hobby.
Yeah.
They've replaced the alcohol with something.
Someone asked, what type of work does your husband do for a living?
I have been in construction since I've
Started working.
started working, which was 16. I started working at a sawmill. I learned a little bit of heavy equipment there, being a laborer, and then being an operator. And now I'm a safety tech in construction.
Someone said, do you support LGBTQ? I'm a Navajo transgender living in Los Angeles. I feel more accepted here. Love your channel and wonderful family. You're very sweet. And I don't know if you meant you feel more accepted like here on our channel or in Los Angeles. But I'm gonna
Probably Los Angeles.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Los Angeles. And as Christians, we do not support LGBTQ, but that does not mean that we're going to treat you any different.
Doesn't mean we don't love you.
Yeah. A lot of people get caught up in all of this, like, well, you shouldn't talk to people like that. You shouldn't associate yourself with people like that. And that's not what we believe. We have family members who are something like that. And we love them just the same. And I'm glad you're here. So don't ever feel like just because we don't support you doesn't mean that we don't care about you. And I'm just going to leave it at that. What is your religion, faith? What is your view on marriage/divorce?
What's your religion?
I'm a Christian. I believe Jesus died on the cross for my sins. I believe he was resurrected on the third day. I believe the King James Bible.
I also believe all that. King James Bible, AV 1611.
What is your view on marriage and divorce?
Me or you? Go ahead.
What's your view first?
Marriage is of God, I believe. God created marriage in the beginning with Adam and Eve, and he honored it. So I believe it's more than just a license, like some people say, because God created it. And
there's a spiritual happening in marriage that I don't think you understand unless you are of a faith and you take that faith with you every day. There's something spiritual about being one, and I know that my husband and I experience it. I remember praying every day leading up to our marriage that God would meet us at the altar. And here I go with again. Oh my gosh. Marriage also mirrors Christ and the church.
correct.
So it is a very serious thing. Very serious communion, I guess you could say. And you shouldn't get married unless you feel that the Lord has picked that person out for you and that the Lord has said you should marry that person. And divorce should be like the end.
Last resort.
Yeah, like the end result. Like you've tried every single thing you could ever try. I mean, like separating is okay and like going your own way to find yourself and then like coming back, but like actually divorcing should be the last result. We've had our ups and downs. Like we're not perfect, but I think from the beginning we knew that the Lord put us together. We knew that we loved each other. We were friends before anything ever happened between us. And some days I want to, but I couldn't do life without him. I really couldn't.
And I love her.
You love me? I think that's all our questions. Sorry if it looks a little different. My phone died. That's everything that was said and asked. It feels a little all over the place. Hopefully I can like put it all together to make sense. They're getting rowdy. I gotta get ready for my internship in the morning. Thank you guys for being here. We love you so much. Exciting to think about where this is gonna go. You wanna take it out? You wanna send us?
That's it, folks.
Thanks for watching our Q&A. Please subscribe, like, comment, share, and hit your post notification bell. And we'll see you in the next one. Bye.